Hi, Irma. I'm a couple of minutes early, making sure I've got everything done. And I should probably... Okay, let's see. I hope everyone's had a good week. I am just posting to the groups really quick and then we'll get started. Okay, I think that does it. Hi, Mary Lou. Hi, Sue. All right, I'm going to play the intro and we will get started. And don't forget my link tree. That is wherever all the products that I use are listed. So if you hear me mention something, you will be able to find it there unless I specify otherwise. And there is the link to my link tree. It's also down below in the description of the video. The crepe paper we're using today is not the Leah Griffith. It is the same pack that we used last week from Michaels because I want you guys to practice with that paper before you move on to the more expensive extra fine papers and things like that. Hi, Diana. So make sure that you're checking out that link tree. Tonight we are going to be making the morning glories. And now you can make several of these and make a little vine or something for a vase, anything like that that you want. But if you're a Patreon supporter or a YouTube Maker Shaker above, I believe it is, then you have access to this Mother's Day card. And we use this flower that we're making tonight on the envelope. So if you are a Patreon supporter or YouTube channel supporter, then you have access to that. Hi, Swirly. So let's pop over. And as always, if you have any questions on Design Space, feel free to ask at any time. We're happy to answer those questions. So here is the card that I did. Oops, I think I just lost my camera. Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs. Oh, guys, you're going to have to give me just a minute. I'm going to pop back over to the file. I can talk about the file while I try to fix that. Not sure why it decided to leave us, but it did. Ah, there, I got it back. Woo! Scared me. Let's see. let me pop back over. I guess you guys can see me still. There we go. Yay. For some reason, my camera just kind of cut off on me. Don't know why. Must have had some message come through. I thought I had all of that muted and turned off, but evidently not. Hi, Susan. Long time no see. But if you are a supporter, then you have access to this card. And I used some Nuvo drops on the front of it. I did the foiling. You can use pens however you want to do it. It's set up for pens, so you'll have to change it to the foiling. And I just used 3 different colors of the purple paper. And then it says, I am thinking of you on this Mother's Day on the inside. I did use pen on the inside. Then I used the flower that we're making tonight on the envelope. Now, this is a pre-made, like a card bag or treat bag. You can find them at your local Michael's, Hobby Lobbies, Joann's, everywhere. Scrapbook.com. Lots of places have them, so you should be able to find them. Now, this is a card that you would hand deliver, of course, and it would not go in the post. In the card file, you will find a piece of vellum. Now, I just arched the top of it just to make it easier to pull out of the bag, so it wasn't the same height as the card, and it kind of matched the, even though it doesn't show it, matches the roundness of this envelope. And I ran this through my embossing machine, my Spellbinders Platinum, and with the Spellbinders Leafy embossing folder. And that vellum's just going to keep all your flowers from hanging on that lip as you put it in there. And it's just going to fit nicely right down into the envelope. So very nice, pretty presentation to give that away in. Hi, Marianne. So very, very nice card. And guys, you can change that up. You can take that Happy Mother's Day off of there. You can make it birthday, just thinking of you. It could be sympathy. You could change this up to be anything you want and any colors that you want in there. Super fun and easy. Okay, popping back over to the file. Super easy. Your leaves are nothing more than a heart, and I just used the basic heart that was right here that's included with your Access subscription because you want a little bit more curve than what this one has, but if you want to swap it out, you can swap it out and use that one if you don't have Access. It's not going to hurt a thing, okay? The flower itself is nothing more than a rectangle. And then this piece, if you got my calla lily flower, I know I showed it to you guys last week. If you got that flower, you have that piece. I'm not sure what was used to make it. Rolled flower. It's part of the rolled flower. So if you want to swap it out and use something else, you can use something else for that. So you can see how you can use different pieces of different flowers to create a totally different flower. Very, very simple and easy. Uh-oh. Oh, no, Diana. All your hot fix stones just went everywhere. Ah, and mixed all the colors, didn't it? Sorting time. Sorting party. Oh, no. I bet I would have had to walk away, too. I knocked over a container of loose, different colored pearls once. It was a pain. It was a serious pain. But super easy. And guys, I did put the link to this video in there, so if you need to refer back to it anytime, you will have that video, and there is the splash screen, so you'll know that you have the right one. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, now this piece, guys, when you cut it, I did cut it with the rotary, and it cuts fine at this size. Do not worry about it being exact or that it didn't cut one piece straight because the rotary crossed over and cut it. It doesn't matter. You don't have to pick out all those little pieces from in between there. They're not going to show. You just pull it off your mat. You don't even need the whole thing, really. Super easy flower to make. Everything was cut with the rotary. Again, if you do not have a maker so that you can cut crepe paper with the rotary, you can cut a cardstock template. And you can cut the hearts by hand, and then you're just going to cut them in half, and then you can cut a rectangle. So I don't know what the exact size of that was, but you can make it any size you want. This one is almost 2.5. It's 2.362 by 315. I'm guessing that they gave me centimeters, and then when I changed my settings, it came up in inches. So I just copied and pasted from an old master file that I have. So to create this file, created a new file. So I guess that was centimeters. I don't know. But you can make it 2.5 by 3.5. It's not going to hurt a thing. Okay? Not going to hurt anything at all. You'll want to take, I'm using the Leah Griffith wrapped 24 gauge paper covered floral wire for this. And you just need a couple of pieces that are maybe 3 inches long. I didn't even measure. I just cut them. Yeah, it's almost 3 inches. Almost. Doesn't really matter, but 3 inches will work. You will need a glue gun for this, and you're going to need your tape runner too. And my glue gun cut off, of course, right when we got started, right? Hey, Christiana. This hasn't been off long. It's still cool to the touch, but I'm just going to lay this is the heart cut in half, and I'm just going to twist it around so that the bottom of the heart is pointed away from me. And then you have one that's smaller. You can make them both the same size. You can use the smaller ones. Doesn't matter. I'm just going to point those away. And it's not hot enough. Maybe. I'm just going to run a little bead of glue down the tip of that. And I'm going to place it on that flower. Well, I say I am. I can't. It's not hot enough yet. Couldn't smear it. It's easier with 2 hands. Trust me. There we go. But I'm just going to get a little bit of glue in there. I'm not even squeezing it. It's got enough to come out of there. And we're just going to stick that down, and then you're going to take this piece and stick it right on top of that wire. If my glue's still hot enough. Nope. You have to work fast. There we go. So now you sandwich that wire right in between, and then you want to get rid of all those little glue hairs. And I'm going to try to get my pieces together first, just like this. I'm just going to stick the wire right into the glue gun. Just going to stick it down and bring this one right on the top. Creating our leaf, okay? Super easy. And then you can give it a little bit of stretch. Now, all of these flowers, pieces, and the leaves and everything should be cut just like it goes to the mat. You don't want to rotate any of the pieces. It's very important that this piece is cut with the grain vertically and that your leaves are cut, or the heart is cut with the grain going vertically. And I'm just giving a little bit of a stretch on there just to pull it out some. Give it a little bit of shape and curl. It's tiny, so it's not going to get a whole lot. You're going to get most of your shape on this one. I have a glue hair stuck to my fingernail. By bending the wire. That's where most of your shape on this one is going to come from. Okay? So we have one, then we're going to do the other. I'm going to stretch it out just a little bit. And I'm stretching this top, and then I'm stretching this bottom. If you don't like the way it looks, give it a little bit more stretch on the edge. And I'm good with that one. And then again, we're going to add that shape from bending the wire. Okay? Super simple. Then this piece, this piece is about anywhere from 4.5 to 5 inches, doesn't really matter. And you can use your tweezers, you can use whatever you have. It doesn't matter. I've had this tool for years. I don't even know what, I know it, my mother used it for quilling, but it has a big opening in it, okay? And I just slide that wire in, and then I just start twisting it. Just like so. Give it a few twists in there and then slide it off. And that's how I do my curly Q. Now you can wrap it around anything that's round that you can get it back off of. You can't wrap it around something like this because you're not going to be able to slide it past that ball. You can put it on your tweezers and wrap it around that way and then pull it off. But you're basically just making a little spring. Okay? That's that piece. Super easy. And then you need a stem, and mine is about 7.5 inches long. Doesn't really matter because I may cut part of that off, but you need something to work with. And I'm just going to roll like a little hook in that and finish rolling it around like so. And that's just so it's not pointy and sticking anybody. And then you're going to get this piece, okay? Doesn't matter which end you start on at all. And you're just going to get a little hot glue on the end of this and stick it to that paper. And just kind of pinch that first part right around it. All right? And then I like to just use tape runner here. It's just easier and it's not as messy. Just start spinning it. Spinning that wire. Oops. Get off of there. And you can spin this down as long as you want to make your stamen. This is your stamen. And this is the same piece. Works the same way on the calla lily. You're just giving it a little bit of stretch as you glue it. Just to make these pop out. If yours aren't popping out enough, you can just fluff them with your finger. Super easy. And again, I didn't even use the whole thing. And then I'm just going to put a little touch of glue on there and seal it off. Everybody with me so far? I am using low temp on here. Dream. Well, this is the Cricut. I think they're high temp glue sticks, and this is the high temp gun. My other one was low temp. It doesn't really matter to me, but low temp is better if you don't want to burn your fingers, because you can see you're going to be doing a lot of pressing of that glue. Okay. It's super easy when I'm doing it. Trust me, every one of you can do this. It may take a little practice learning to work with crepe paper, and you may want to make yours a little bit bigger to start with, but I made this to fit on something like this. If you're going to be doing an arrangement, yes, I would definitely go bigger. And you can size this to any size that you want to do it. It doesn't matter. You just need a rectangle of paper and some hearts. If you want to use the stamens, they sell them, I think, on Amazon and all of those that are already made. They have them like in assorted colors and a whole bucket of them. You can use those. You don't have to use this. But I looked up Morning Glory to make sure I was using the right stamen, and that's what most of them had. So, but you can use anything you want for these. Hey, Jacqueline. So I just folded this in half with the grain. Remember, your grain is vertical, and that's all I did. Just fold it right in half. And then you're going to open it back up. And this is where I like to use tape runner too. And I'm just going to go all the way down one side. Just get that glue all the way down one side. You're going to fold it over, but make sure you don't let this seal up on this end. It's very easy to work with. You're just going to take this and bring it around. Okay. This one's kind of tiny to work with, so you guys bear with me. I'm just going to tuck that edge right up under there. Come apart. I'm just going to tuck it in and seal it. So now you got a little tube. And it's double thickness. And you'll see why. That's just to give this a nice, pretty finished edge and a sturdy edge on these, because we're going to be using a little bit of wet glue on there. Not much, but we are. So once you have that sealed up, you're then going to take your stamen and you're going to put it inside, depending, and I like mine to come just right down below the lip of the flower, okay? And then you're going to gather it down at the bottom, just pinching it right around that wire, okay? And you can still adjust. I'm going to pull that stamen down just a little bit. And you're going to need, you can use any kind of string that you have as long as it's fine. It doesn't, you don't want to tie a rope around here, but regular sewing thread, embroidery floss, whatever you have on hand. And this is just a little piece of twine. And the easiest way I found is just to make your half knot. Make your half knot. Get your flower. It's all gathered up, and just slip it right over. And then start, oops. Well, that is the easiest way if you don't pull on the wrong side. And then I'm just going to I'm holding it over here. And we're going to tighten that down right around that wire. And you need to do this step. Don't skip this step, because you can see how I can still move that. It's going to help tighten that flower down at the bottom, and it matters when we go to open up the flower, okay? That's why you don't want to skip this step. I'm just going to snip it off close. Don't cut your paper. Just snip it off. Then you're going to take your hot glue, and you're just going to put a bead right around the base and let it cool. And that's just to keep that stamen in place and keep it from moving around. That's really more glue than I need. But I just don't want it to slip. Oh, that would be nice, Bobby. Michael's has it. You can order it online at Michael's, Bobby. And this is way more tape than I need. You don't need maybe but about a 6-inch piece. But you're going to start with your tape right at the base, and you're going to be stretching it as you roll. Okay? Because when you stretch it, that's when it gets sticky. And you're just going to cover the bottom of that flower and that twine, and then you're going to begin wrapping that stem. Okay? And once you're down here maybe about an inch, that's when you want to get, it doesn't matter which piece you start with. I'm going to start with my spring or my little curlicue, and I'm going to wrap back up just a little bit on that. I'm going to go back up, just so I can cover this wire. If you're using tape that's close to the color of the paper colored wire, that's all you need. I'm going to start coming back down just a little bit, and then whichever leaf that you want, doesn't matter, it will bend. You're just going to place it on there, and then get your other one, maybe bring it down just a little bit further from that one. And then you're going to wrap all the way down. Now you can wrap the stems of these leaves if you want to, but for what I'm using it for, there's really no need. But if you want to, that's fine. And that's a little long for me. I'm going to cut that off. I don't need that much. Just going to finish that off. And then that's when you can arrange your leaves. I didn't get enough hot glue on that first one. I knew I didn't. If it's coming apart on you, just add some hot glue. I know I wasn't going to make it out alive. I just burned my finger. Thank you, Diana. Yes, please hit like, share. Leave a comment down below if you're watching after the live. Got some, that's all right. Got a little hot glue on that. All right, so now I have those pieces. Here's the tricky part. You got to get your finger or something down here in the base, okay? And this is a stylus I had. You can use a ball stylus. You can use a pencil. Use whatever you have. But you're just going to, I'm just putting that in there, and then I'm just kind of pulling upward in an upward motion in like a little V. And I'm just going to work my way around the flower doing that. Don't worry about your stamen. If you mess them up, you can straighten them up after. But I'm just kind of making a cup down there at the bottom by stretching that crepe paper just a little bit around this ball stylus. Okay? I prefer this. This is my go-to. And I'm just stretching out that crepe paper just a little bit, all the way around. Not a whole lot, just a little bit. You can go back and add more. Remember, you can add more stretch. You can't take it back. So now you can see I've got that little bowl like going at the bottom. A little bit more there. Okay. And that's why we're using 24 gauge wire, so you can maneuver this guy in the middle. So now you have this. Next you're going to take and just pinch around the top. Okay? And you're going to stretch it as far as it will stretch. But you don't want to come down any further than right about here. And the bigger your flower is, the more leeway you'll have here. But for this tiny one, maybe a 1/4 inch down. Not 1/8 of an inch, but about 1/4. And you're just going to keep walking it around and stretching. You want it stretched to the max till it won't stretch anymore. Be very careful once it's stretched to the max. If you try to stretch it further, it will rip. Yeah, I have some. They're sitting over there in the drawer. I just, I don't use them. I can't, and I'll tell you why. Well, I can't feel what I'm doing when I have them on, and that's why I don't use them. So now you can see that I've got this all stretched out here. Now we're going to kind of keep stretching just a little bit and curling backwards. Okay? Just going to kind of open it up. You don't want to be stretching any of this part in the middle. Okay? See how we're getting that shape? Be careful at your seam. You don't want to pull it apart, but you can still stretch it there. I like to just curl mine back just a little. All right, now we got to make it look like a morning glory. Now, here's the thing. I used white pigment ink on mine, and you can do that, but if you're using a deep color like this with the crepe, chances are it's going to make that ink turn like a light pink or a purple. If you want bright white and then you want the purple to be your accent, you're going to have to use white crepe paper for your flower and then use a purple Copic marker or something like that to do your coloring, okay? Because I'm fine with this. It's almost white, but it's more of a pinky after it sets, okay? And you can go over it a couple of times if you want and get it a little bit whiter. For that, I use a pigment ink. And this one happens to be close to my heart. I guess they still sell it. Judy's not here to tell me. If any of you sell close to my heart, maybe you can. But this is Z2863. They may have a new number on it. I don't know. But I'm sure they have some type of white ink. Stays on something you can use. And this is an old brush. It's a number 2 brush, guys, but I cut this off years ago just so that it would be stiff. I cut all the hairs off of it to make it stiff, bristled at the bottom. It's just one of my craft paint pens. And then you're just going to select an area, and you're just going to do your striping on it with that ink. Doesn't have to be perfect, doesn't have to be major. And you're going to do 5 of them. Okay, so I've got my stripes in there. And I know that looks like it's not enough, but give it a minute, let it set in there. I use my fingers to kind of work it in. You can add more. You can't take it away. Pigment ink is slower to dry, and that's why I use the pigment ink. You can see it's on my fingers. And then if you want to take that extra little step, I'm using a Zig 2-way. Doesn't really matter. You can use your art glitter glue, whatever it is that you have. And I'm just touching it to that paper because you don't want to get it too wet. Okay? And then I'm taking my tweezers and I'm going to pinch that. I'm going to press it back. Just pinching it. Can you guys see that? Just pinched it shut. And I'll probably add more white to that here in just a second. It's not dry yet. You can use hot glue here, but it's probably going to make a mess and you'll see it. So wet glue is better. But I'm just making those little bitty points. And again, if you want to cut your paper bigger and start with the bigger one to learn, that's perfectly fine. But you're just going to go each place where you did your white stripe and you're going to repeat that. Just going to pinch it off. Give it a second to dry. They do, Susan. Yep, Susan. I forgot you were here, Susan. Susan does the Close to My Heart too. They have the white pigment ink pads if you don't have one. It's a good thing to have in your craft room. You never know when you might need it. Comes in handy for lots of things. I still have plenty of ink in that to play with. I'm just getting those little bitty points in there. And it may look like I'm pinching a lot of that, guys, but I mean, it's very minute. All right, and once this dries, okay, once it's good and dry, let that zig and all of this dry. And it's okay if it opens back up a little bit. Your point should still be there. Then you're just going to curl it back a little bit more, okay? Just curl it back again. But I'm not going to mess with that one anymore till it dries, and then I'll curl this top. You can see how it's not as curled back as this one. You want to give that time to dry before you take that step. But it's exactly what we did before we did our paint when we were rolling it back. And then before this, because I'm putting it on a card or an envelope, I am going to curl, if I can get it in there. Let's do our tweezers. I'll show you how to do it with the tweezers. Too much paper or something on there. Just going to take this and we're just going to start rolling it. Make that little spring. And then you can just stretch it out. Okay? Just roll it right around your tweezers. And then I'm going to put a bend in mine here, bring my leaves back up. And you can put this on your envelope any way that you want. And I did this one with the beautiful butterflies folder from them cards from the cards that I did last week. And then I have a ribbon here that says Happy Mother's Day. If you have you can use anything that you want, really. That's still a little too long for me. I'm just going to twist them up. I should have made that about 6 inches instead of 7 for that whole flower. There we go. And I am just trimming off, if I can find my scissors there, trimming off that glue that I squished out of here. I'm not really cutting my flower leaves. I squished that hot glue out when I burned myself. And I don't like it showing. Get rid of it. And then you can just place it down on your card wherever you want it to be, wherever you want it to live. And I'm just using some hot glue to glue my ribbon down around it. That's the easiest way I know to do it. Put a dab down, do your ribbon and your flower, and then put the other ribbon down. And you can still work with it while it's on your envelope. You still have plenty of working area. And I'll play with that. It's still a little soft from the inks and the glue. Super easy. So what do you guys think? You think you could do this one? I think you can. It's super, super simple. I would suggest maybe making it slightly bigger and practicing with one before you go small. And again, this is very, very white and stark, but it will fade and become like this pinky color, which is looking more natural. And then once it's dried and turned that pinky color, you can add another little bit of a white stripe in there. And you're just going to do the opposite if you're using a white flower and then using like a purple color or a pink color for your stripes. You're just going to work it opposite that we did this white. This embossing folder, Irma, is called Beautiful Butterflies. It's a Spellbinders folder. And this one is called Leafy. The paper, Susan, is actually an envelope that I got. Let me grab that. I set it out. And I'm going to be honest, guys, I don't know where I got these. I have absolute Walmart. Ah, there it is. I got these at Walmart. They're just called Hello Hobby paper bags. They're 4.75 by 7 inches. Let's see if we can. I just knocked off. Oh, no, I didn't. There they are. I was going to say I knocked off the scissors and I can't see them on the floor. I'll step on them. Hello Hobby is a trademark of Walmart. The number on here says 12-pack paper bags craft AC1426. And there's this, let me see if I can get that skew out of there so it doesn't reflect. There's the skew, in case you guys need it. Get it to focus on there. But it's AC1426. And that's what they look like. I just embossed them with the embossing folder. Gives them a totally different look, right? Any embossing folder that you want, and you can get a totally different look. You can get the white ones. They work well too, especially for like a shabby chic wedding, something like that. They make great save the date type presentations. But lots of stuff you can do with these. And I think they were like $1, $1.50, something like that. They weren't much for 12. I've had them for a while, but I'm pretty sure you can still get them If Walmart doesn't have them, like I said, try scrapbook.com, Michael's, Joann's, Hobby Lobby, probably over in the, I don't know, the party favor aisle, maybe, for like treat bags. Or in the card making aisle, you know, they have the cellophane, the clear cellophane ones. They're over in that section too. They have them in the craft paper. But this is kind of heavy. It's not the thin craft paper. This is grocery bag thickness. I call it grocery bag thickness. So it works well with the 3D embossing folders. Doesn't crack it. Does anybody have any questions on how to do the morning glories? Spot of glue on that one too. I have to get that off. This is still a little damp, but I'm going to try to fold it over. You just saw them, Bobby? Great. That's fantastic. But just make sure that if you're doing a 3D card that you cut a piece of vellum. It doesn't have to have a shape at the top, but it does need to be at least the size of the card so that your leaves and your flowers and things like that, when it goes in, doesn't hang up. You don't want it to hang up, so you need that cover piece. So when you're placing it in, you're protecting it and it will slide in easily. You don't have to fight it. Yeah, Irma, practice with, like I said, use this large grain. You can buy the larger grain at Leah Griffith, but it's more expensive. And there's nothing wrong with this stuff at Michael's for these kind of flowers and stuff. Nothing wrong with it whatsoever. Let's see. You need a new embossing machine. Your Cricut one's about shot. I'm using a Spellbinders Platinum 6, Susan, but I also bought that one because I wanted to use the hot foil glimmer system. And if you have plans in the future of using the hot foil glimmer, you need to make sure that whatever you buy that it can be used, because the hot foil glimmer system cannot be used. I couldn't use it with my Big Shot, but I had the wrong Big Shot. But they tell you over on Spellbinders, if you plan to use that hot foil system, they give you a list of the ones that will work with that system that are not Spellbinders. I added the sentiment onto this. I did the ribbon myself. Oh, I meant to tell you guys, these are on clearance at Michael's for $40, or they are at mine. So if you want to grab one, if your Michael's has one, now's the time because they're on clearance. Which tells me they're probably coming out with a newer model, but this one works perfectly fine for me. You can make your ribbons say whatever you want. They have all different colors of ribbon. But make sure that, because I made the mistake, I bought one of these, which is the 1-inch ribbon, and this particular machine won't take the 1-inch. There are two different models, and one model will take both sizes of ribbon, and one of them doesn't, and this one does not. Yeah, I'm using the Platinum 6. Let me see if I can find that and show that one to you guys. Let's see. Now, the Gemini, like Marianne said, is a very nice, if you don't want the crank. Well, I can't find the right. Let me try it this way. I'm getting there, guys. It's just taking me a second. I have to log in. All right. Where did it go? There we go. Now I have it. Let's see. If you go down to my link tree and then go down to Spellbinders, $15% off your first order. This is the hot foil glimmer system, the glimmer hot foil system. If you ever plan to use that, you'll need to make sure that it is a compatible machine. And this is the one that I use. And $149.99 is a fantastic price on that one. I paid more than that. But I've had mine a while. Right, Diana? It is an investment, but if you're a card maker, you really can't get by without one. Dream, Diana, yeah, it comes, you can get, it doesn't really use inks. You buy the cartridges, you can buy tape or ribbon, it has both, it uses tape and ribbon. You just swap out the cartridges and use whatever color you want, but you can get like black ribbon, red ribbon, white ribbon, you can get it with gold on black or silver on black, red on black, different colors. There's lots of different combinations. It is a crank one, Shirley. That is a crank one. This one here, it is a crank. They do have an electronic one. If you go over there and look, I'm pretty sure. Let's see. Wrong. There we go. I don't know which one it is. One of them, or they did have one that was electric. This is the new and improved. This is their new one. That's why this one's on sale. And that's the UK version there. But yeah, I don't know if they did away with their electronic or not. Let me pop back over so I can answer Diana's question here. You're just going to open it up, Diana, and you pick whatever you want to use. And this particular one is gold, white with gold. And it will tell you this is ribbon, and it'll say either ribbon or tape here, so you know which one you're using. It'll tell you the color of the ribbon or the tape, and then you can, the label is done in the color that it prints on there. and you just swap them out. You simply just put them in and then turn it on and you can print. This is one that I just did. So you pick your font, put a frame on it if you want, pattern, however you want to do it. And once you're happy with it, you just hit print, number of copies that you want, and then you print it. And then you cut it, and you have a ribbon. It says whatever you want it to say. But like I said, they have the ones that do tape, they have the ones that do ribbon, and depending on the machine, this one I think is the 3/8 inch, and yeah, or half inch, 3/8 inch, half inch, and then they have one that does the 1 inch too. And I grabbed up the wrong ribbon on that one. I'll use the ribbon for something. You haven't used your embossing machine yet? Break that baby out, Christiana. Yeah, if you're having problems, Shirley, and you can't do the crank, sometimes I have difficulty with it, but I managed to get through. But yeah, Gemini or I don't know if you can even get the Anna Griffith Impress anymore. Do they still sell the Impress? You're welcome, Diana. Christiana, on clearance, it was $40. When they first came out, I don't remember. When they first came out, I think they were 99, and then they dropped down to like 60, but now they're 40. But yeah, I love this thing. So, and all of the ribbons and tapes are on clearance too. But you can still buy those at Amazon. It just has to be the ones that have the TZ tapes or ribbons. It has to have that symbol on them, and you can use them in these machines. Go ahead, blame it on me. Can't help it. Yeah, it's a cool thing because you can personalize um, your projects just a little bit further. I mean, if you've got a wedding or something like that, then you can do the names and dates and do ribbons for the water bottles or cards or whatever party favors or anything like that you're doing. Um, because you can do a continuous on that too. I don't know, Marianne. I know I looked for an Impress when I bought my spellbinders, and they didn't have any. HSN didn't have any at all, and I couldn't find it anywhere. So I ended up going with the spellbinders. It's called the P-Touch Embellish by Brother. It's the P-Touch Embellish. And then the embossing machine is the Platinum 6. Platinum 8. Platinum 8. I don't know if I have the 6 or the 8. I think I have the 8.5. You have your wish list. Yeah, and check on Amazon too. You might, I mean, if Michaels doesn't have it, if they're planning on coming out with a new machine, generally they'll mark those down too if anybody's got them on Amazon. They are on Amazon now, Marianne? Yeah, I couldn't find any at all when I bought mine. But I've had mine for, I don't know, a couple of years now. I love my Cuttlebug, but it just wouldn't do the larger plates for me. The larger folders and stuff. All right, guys, thank you for joining me. If you have any questions, let me know. I am off next Thursday from Michael's, so I will be live 7 p.m. Eastern Time next Thursday as well. I am thinking of doing some direct-to-vinyl, the Caesar direct-to-vinyl print and cut, if you guys are interested in that, or I can do another flower. It's up to you guys. So shoot me a message, let me know if you guys want to learn how to do the direct to vinyl Caesar. We can take a break from the flowers and then pick them back up. Totally up to you guys. But we need something, a gift to go with our cards, right? I have not posted it yet, Jacqueline. I am still working on it. Still working on that. And Jacqueline, please shoot me a message on the size of those lip glosses that you have, so that I will have it in messages, and so that I can make the insert for it. I'll consider that a compliment. I love Miss Reed. I'm so happy she's home. But I am working on your box, Jacqueline, but I do need to know the size of the lip glosses so I can make the insert that goes inside. All right, guys, thanks for joining me. Thank you to all my supporters. Thank you to my admin and mod team. Jacqueline on Facebook. If you come to the group and click on my name in there, you can message me. Or you can send it to my email there, april@craftingwithapril.co, not com, .co. And you can always use the contact us form on my site. craftingwithapril.co. Pretty nails and crafts, right? All right, guys. Y'all have a great night, and I have a fantastic weekend, and I will catch you next Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Let's try to do Jacqueline's box next Thursday, and maybe I will be able to do a shirt on a recorded tutorial for you guys with the direct to vinyl. Diana, you can always return it. They'll take it back if you're not happy with it. I've never had a problem with them taking anything back, ever. All right, guys. Catch you on the next one. Thanks for joining me.